I'm Gloria Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. Today we are having our part 2 of the conversation with the one and only attorney, now District Attorney Stacey Jackson from the Albany State University. I tell you, you're going to be hiding from me before it's over with. Say, oh Lord, here comes Gloria Strode, just telling that story again. We are so very, very proud, and when you were sworn in your new position as a district attorney for the Chattahoochee Judicial District.
Judicial Circuit, yes.
Judicial Circuit. So what is that? How many counties? What does that include?
It's a 6-county circuit, which includes half the Albany County, Muscatine County, Harris County, Chattahoochee, Marion, Talbot, and Taylor counties.
Okay, Taylor County. Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's kind of just, I like hanging out there. Yeah, Taylor is. So you came in, and this is not foreign to you, because before you went to private practice as criminal defense attorney, you had already worked as an assistant district attorney. Yes,
from 2000 to 2008, I worked as an assistant DA under John Gray Conger. He was the district attorney at the time. And then once he lost the election, I went out into private practice and stayed there for 14 years.
14 years?
Surprised that.
Wow. Yeah. And you were with a great firm there.
Yes. I started out there with federal judge Stephen Howell was my law partner, and then also defense attorney Richard Hayward, and Susan Henderson was there as well. So the four of us were there.
Susan Henderson. Okay.
And then she had left to start her own practice, and I stayed there with Judge Howells, and then Richard until Judge Howells ran for municipal court judge, and then he got appointed federal judge after that. And it was just Richard and myself there for a while doing criminal defense work,
which is hard work.
Yes, hard work.
But you know what? You was just as good as man law. Whenever I would see you on the news, I just really had no shame. I really probably act like a groupie. Because you were just so powerful with, whatever, but that's the way we train you at Albany State. Whatever we do, we're going to do it excellent.
Do it
good.
Best you can.
Exactly.
Yes,
right.
Best you can. So I enjoyed that 14-year run as a defense attorney, and then this position became available. And then I put my name in the hat to be appointed by the governor, and went through the process and interviewed, and out of a final round of 7 applicants, once it was narrowed down, we all interviewed with the governor and his staff, and I was chosen on April the 7th of this year, and then Chief Judge Gil McBride swore me in on May 20th of this year, and I took over the office.
We were just so proud. You just really don't know. You don't. It was like a shouting Holy Ghost good time, and then I heard you say out of 7 applicants, and then you were chosen on the 7th. Is that correct?
Yes, April 7th.
Okay,
yes.
7 is complete.
Yes. All
right, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
7 is your number. Okay, so what was it like coming back from private, going back to in the government, because it's a government job, from the assistant DA to actually being the leader?
Yes.
So now you got all the headaches.
Yes.
Before you just had whatever your cases were.
Yes, whatever I was working on. That has been the challenge.
Right.
Going from, kind of the business model of I handle my own cases. I had secretary and receptionist, and that's all I was responsible for.
Exactly.
Just myself, my receptionist, and then my paralegal that worked for me.
Right.
But now I have to the tune about 60 some odd employees. Assistant DAs, investigators, paralegals, admin staff, my executive assistant.
The budget.
Yes.
The budget, right.
Just walking in May, right where the budget is kind of being finalized and having to jump on, the bandwagon.
And get that learning curve. Because you came from private practice, which you didn't have to. You didn't have to get permission or request to buy anything.
Yes.
If you had it in the budget at the private practice, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
So now you got to explain to the other elected officials why you need it.
Yeah. That was a very quick learning curve having to go into, because within I believe a week or two of just being in office, I had to go before city council and ask for some funds.
I watched city council. I saw you standing there.
Within weeks, just standing there.
I thought it was funny.
I need these funds. I need his money to get the job done.
Right, because I knew you coming from the private sector, you didn't have to do that, because it's like, okay, we got money, let's just do that. But when you got folks that got to vote on and pass the budget, and then you had the budget chair and the committee, and and then you have to make it make sense because it's the taxpayers' money. Right.
And then with the kind of tumultuous situation that was there, unfortunately, before I took office, having to go in and just evaluate the situation and put people in place. And basically, the thing is, when I got sworn in, my promise was just to put people in positions to do great things and to do the work.
In the right place.
Yes.
We have to have people in the right place doing the things that match their abilities, their personalities, and I was at a workshop once and someone said that to me. The person might be the best cook in the house, but if they don't have good people skills, they certainly don't need to be the person as the cashier at checkout. They just need to remain in the back and cook. So pretty much that's what you had to do. Go in and kind of assess and reorganize.
And the funny thing about it, even though it's a different sector, just watching, my parents over the years, from a young small child to an adult, see how they handle their administrative duties, I learned a lot of lessons by watching them over the years. So a lot of that played in.
So that was useful.
Very.
At the time, you didn't realize.
You didn't realize that I was learning.
Because every year they have to do teacher contracts and make sure that is the right person to teach English, or what they call it, language art, or math, or science. Putting people in the right place where they're going to be successful, but then the mission gets accomplished. Right.
So that closeness that I had with them, and them allowing me to be there and watch them and see how they did different things was just awesome. And also I have to obviously give credit to my predecessors, Greg Conger.
Well, you were able to learn. They let you learn on their dime. Yes.
As a law clerk, because that's one thing before going into the district attorney's office, that I was a law clerk for Judge W.C. Pullen, and also William Smith, judge, and now retired. So I was able to learn and watch, and I was lucky enough to get that job coming right out of law school. So I was just able to sit and watch and learn, and
that was helpful.
Yes, very.
That was helpful. Yes. Okay. Well, what we're going to do now is go to our first break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. The Columbus Memory Center, 7196 North Lake Drive, Suite A, Columbus. Dr. Jonathan Liss is a board-certified neurologist and sleep specialist committed to battling Alzheimer's by preserving independence, offering you the opportunity to get your memory number for free, the only vital sign for brain health. Call today at 706-327-4000 or visit columbusmemorycenter.com. The Miley Agency, 4903 Armour Road. Gerald L. Miley and William Ripsinger have been providing comprehensive reviews and insuring families in Georgia and Alabama for more than 50 years. The Miley Agency will work non-stop to find you the best policy at the best price. You can rest assured that your information is secure, confidential, and protected. Call today at 706-996-2045. And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing this conversation with our District Attorney, Stacey Jackson from the Albany State University. I have to buy you something that says that and put it in your office so people will know. I just want to stand right here on the Chattahoochee River and shout it to the Alabama side to tell them that we put out the best and the brightest. Well, I know you have a vision. You've been well trained by your parents. You've been well trained by your mentors.
Yes.
You were blessed to move into a law firm with some excellent attorneys.
Yes.
So if we're somewhere with brilliant people and if we don't learn, it's our own fault.
Correct.
I believe in sitting with the best. I tell people all the time, and he's very humble about it, but for 10 years, I sat at the feet of State Senator Ed Harbison.
Yes.
And that's how I learned TV and radio. And it was an honor for me to sit there to learn. And so I tell people that whether they want to hear it or not. But you were blessed to be among all of the ones, Gray Conger and Doug Pullins, and then Hagler and Hiles and all of those folks. Your parents being school administrators.
And I soaked up the information from all those resources. I remember trying cases in front of Judge John Allen, and you know, going back and picking up pointers. He would point out different things, just to say, hey, watch this next time. This, that, you know, they're just professionalism and coaching. And I remember one specific lesson he gave me. I turned my back to him when he was making a statement or whatever, and wasn't even thinking about it.
Right.
Well, he got in my butt about it, and I made sure that would never happen again.
That was Judge Allen.
Judge Allen.
He said, "Don't ever turn your back when I'm talking."
Yeah, never.
Right.
But it was just a It
was learning, and you took it.
Yeah, and I took it.
And you corrected yourself.
Corrected myself.
Right.
Never made that mistake again, whichever, because going into private, because I was an assistant DA then, but then learning that going into private practice, practicing across and trying cases across the state as a criminal defense attorney, you know, the worst thing that you can do is make a judge mad when you're not from there.
Right, when you're an outsider.
When you're an outsider coming in, the last thing you want to do is make the judge mad.
Right.
You don't want him or her to take it out on your client.
Exactly.
But those were, you know, just lessons from, like I said, Judge.
But you were willing to be taught.
Yes.
See, and that's where we struggle sometimes. We get people and they think they got all these degrees and that makes them great. No, the degrees say that you mastered the information to pass the test.
Yes.
Now you got to take theory and put it into practical.
Real world knowledge.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
And so you learned that. Judge Allen used that was a teachable moment.
Yes.
And so, but it paid off.
Yes.
So when you were in Atlanta or Savannah or Augusta, and you were trying as representing someone in a criminal case, you knew. Yeah. Don't insult the judge. Don't turn your back.
No.
Now let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Right. One of the funniest stories, one of our mutual Albany State people that both of us love said to me, if Stacey's got to stand on top of the desk during his closing argument. So we laughed about that because you really did fight. And that's what your attorney is supposed to do.
Yes.
That's the whole point. Whether, you know, however people feel about it, that is what America is about. Everybody's entitled to due process.
Yes.
Everybody
and that's a very good point. And that's the thing now, switching back over, coming back, working for the state. You know, we want to make sure, I want to make sure that the system is just and is fair, but also have a duty to make sure that the people in this community are protected. Yes. And that's very important to me. Because not only do I live here, my family lives in the circuit. I have an extended family and friends that live here. And unfortunately, we've had a run the last couple of years that has been violence in our community. And it's part of, I believe it's part of my job, Sheriff Countryman, Chief Blackman, all of us working together. Moving forward to rid, regardless of what side of the track it is, to rid crime in our community. And
we need, you know, community safety is important.
Yes, very important.
I don't care what your zip code is.
Yes,
you know. And for me, a lot of the older people from my village, Carver Heights, that area, they bought homes and they're like 80-something years old. They were military. They're too old to move now. Where are they going to go? Not that they can't afford it, but then they're going to be displaced. What would they look like moving to Blackman Road.
Yeah.
They don't know anybody there.
Yeah.
They know their neighbors. But we want them when they come from the grocery store. We want them when they get out of their car to be just as safe as the people in Green Island Hills.
Yeah.
We have to have that.
That's the
And
goal.
sometimes, it might make things tough,
Yes.
but as long as you're fair.
Yes.
See, that's why I always tell people, you don't have to give me preferential treatment, but just make sure we're
That's
being fair.
Yes.
Right. And so you all, you have a lot ahead of you.
Yes.
But I do believe, who cares what I think, but I do have an opinion.
Yes.
I believe that you will be fair.
Yes.
And I think with having the experience in the criminal,
Yes, ma'am.
private practice, as well as on the government side as the assistant DA, and then now coming back as a district attorney, I think that gives you a lot of wisdom
Yes.
of
Yes.
seeing
I've
both
seen
sides.
a lot over the last, 22 years in practice as assistant
22
DA.
years.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
As assistant DA or, in private practice. And then also having the ability to practice outside of this jurisdiction to see how they've done it and how we the circuit on the Fulton County circuit or over in Savannah or what have you, down in Albany. I've had cases down there, and being able to just soak in all that information and try to bring that wisdom. And there's a lot of other judges, like Rucker Smith is a very great judge down in Sutton County. I've watched him try a lot of cases and been before him, and part of the fish house crowd with him. He's, I believe, someone that's given a lot of advice and tools to be just soaking in all that information and putting it to practice for the best to make this.
Well, but see, you were willing to learn. See, you got to be willing to learn. No, that's what makes you great. I interviewed another young lady, and it was about a health matter, and she said something, and my husband and I were like, "What? We didn't know that." I always want to learn, because when you get to the point where you don't want to learn, then you can't keep up with the world, because new things are happening, every day. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to our final break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Carter Counseling Services in the White House at the Elms, 1846 Buena Vista Road, providing services to enhance the quality of life for clients by promoting healthy, stable interactions within relationships, counseling support to assist individuals in positive personal growth. Call Mr. Carter today at 706-570-8698. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road. Trusted by generations. Roz Cafe and Catering Services. Choose Roz as your personal chef, knowing every dish is prepared with attention to the finest details and extra care. She will make your next event one to remember, with 2 convenient locations to serve you: 390 Batzel Avenue, Fort Benning, and 3418 Buena Vista Road. Visit rozcafe.com. And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing this awesome conversation with Albany State's best and brightest District Attorney Stacey Jackson. Look, I'm just going on the road with that show. I tell you, both of us have our alumni pins on, and that's a very proud thing for us, and certainly, the village there and all of the legendary educators that we had. They gave us their heart and soul, in addition to the best education they could provide. What do you want the community to know about our new district attorney? I know we have issues, and you said Sheriff Countryman, Chief Blackman, and yourself, you all are going to collaborate.
Yes.
Now, here's an old social worker. You didn't ask me for this, but you know me. You've been knowing me for a minute. I know that you will make sure that everything that we do will be fair.
Yes.
That's all I want people to know. That doesn't mean that you won't have to make tough decisions.
Correct.
But I think with having the experience in the criminal private practice and then the government side, I think that gives you a bird's eye view. And I know you've had some tough cases. I was cheering you on when you had the young man with the school superintendent and all of that.
And Cream Lane.
Yeah.
That case. But the thing also that I know sometimes with, the media sometimes picks out the cases. Well, this person committed this horrible crime and this person got 25 years or this and the other. But also, obviously, that is one of the focuses from the protecting community from those violent criminals. But also, what gets left out sometimes that we have a juvenile court, program.
Yes, I was a juvenile tracker
to catch some of these individuals before they make that fatal mistake or while they're just acting up a little bit or disrupting in school, try to put them in programs or what have you. So we have the juvenile drug court program,
which is good,
which is a great. We have counselors and social workers that work in juvenile
children
court.
advocates.
Yes, child advocates that work. So we work with the juvenile court system to try to prevent
them from going to the next.
That wrong route to that next level. So we have a prevention measure in there too. Also, one of the things that we do have that I'm very proud of is our participation in the adult drug court program.
That's a good one.
Because obviously we know drugs is an epidemic.
It is across the board, regardless of race or social status or any of that.
That's absolutely correct. So we participate in this program so if we can catch someone early while they're in the beginning of addiction or what have you, and we can intervene in that intervention. So it's not all just about catching somebody, locking them up, and throwing away the key.
Exactly.
We participate in these programs as well. So, but if a person obviously steps out of line and they do something horrific, we have to step in and we have to prosecute those cases. And we have to do protect the community.
When you cross the line, you have to pay.
You get a whoop.
You just get a whoop.
You get a whoop.
You're right. It's a big money, you'll be okay.
It's tough, but it's fair.
Exactly.
That's what my dad always says.
It's tough, but it's fair, right?
Yeah, how you supposed to act, you won't have a problem.
Exactly.
So, but we try to, participate in those things.
And then we have those DARE programs where they go into schools and they're trying to tell the children in advance. I was a juvenile tracker and I worked with, God bless his soul, Sid Battle and Willie Mitchell. And of course, Barbara Chester, she retired. And I can tell you, Sid Battle had some of the kids already had done 7 deadlies. But the thing for me, and I told Judge Richardson this when he was a guest on the show. Of course, you've been on the guest on the show, and I appreciate you supporting me before you became a wonderful DA when I first started out. But a lot of our children, and I know this is why the juvenile drug court and the adult drug court is so good. They have been on mind-altering drugs because they have been diagnosed with various disabilities. And then when they drop out or stop out, that is what a lot of what we see. Now, I'm a social worker by Albany State training, all of that. Then I taught in the state prison through a federal education grant, the Calhoun State Prison, as a matter of fact. I was a juvenile tracker. But if they've always been on those, with all of those drugs, I don't know the names, but it's a lot of them, because you go to the school, there's a cabinet from the ceiling to the floor at lunchtime, and the nurse is handing out the drugs. So if they get put out of school or they drop out of school, they're out on the street, a lot of them, looking to fill that. That's why adult drug court and juvenile drug court is very important.
Very important.
Because we need to deal with what the real issue is. And I did tell Judge Richardson that. I said, you can look in their eyes and tell. But if you've been on that drug since you were in the kindergarten, and then all of a sudden it's not there anymore, mom's not getting that check. I'm not throwing shade, but I'm just saying when they are diagnosed with certain disabilities, mom gets a check and they're able to get the free medication. When that goes away, then we've created something.
We try to look at, when we look at not only the criminal history of a person, we try to look at the history in general. Have they been to juvenile court? Have they been granted, those resources to help them out? Have they been given a chance? So we take all that in consideration when we look at a case on a case-by-case analysis. and what.
So it's not a
you
one
decide.
size fits all.
Yeah, it's not a one side.
Okay,
No,
good.
it's not a one side fit all. That's the perfect example. You
Mhm.
said it perfectly.
Mhm.
We try to assess each individual situation, each individual case, and try to do diligence and do justice as it deserves.
Okay, fairness.
Yes.
Because you've been trained by the best.
Yes.
Miss and Mrs. Arnold Jackson. I mean, they trained you up right. And no, really, they did. And they have this wonderful legacy in the education community. Everywhere you go, if you just say their name, people hold them in very high esteem. So all of that was sown into you. I'm very excited that you're in this role. We support you 100%.
I appreciate it.
I believe in my heart you will be fair.
Yes.
And if I don't think that you are being fair,
You'll call me.
I will. Make no mistake, because I want you to be successful.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to look up one day and then you're on the national stage. So when we are good stewards of the small things, He will make us ruler over many.
And that's what I plan to be, a good steward of this position. I understand and how just gracious Lord has been to bless me with the opportunity to help people
Exactly.
and to protect this community. And I take that very, very seriously and to heart.
As a servant leader.
Yes.
Well, I'm proud. I have no shame. Once again, this visit has been with the one and only Albany State University, best and brightest attorney, now District Attorney, Stacey Jackson. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.
What up, world? What's up, Columbus? Be sure to tune in every Sunday, Straightforward with Gloria Strode, right here on NBC 38.